our next item.
Number 5, public comment.
I don't know if there was anybody signed up when we got started, but if there is anybody that wishes to speak, you are more than welcome to approach the podium. Please do state your name when you get to the podium, so the clerk may record it.
My name's Henry McClure. I'm a resident of Topeka in Shawnee County. I live just down at 5th and Adams, across from Amtrak. Due to the new zoning that they did where you can renovate commercial buildings and live in them, we took advantage of that. So I'm enjoying being a downtown resident. I'd like to talk about economic development, and I'd like to talk about trying to, as you mentioned the other day, Commissioner Cook, kind of rein in my insanity and channel it.
I like your energy.
No, I
Henry.
respected that. So what I really want to do is go back to the beginning, and I really liked the consultant, because we always have to hire a consultant. But this consultant said, you know, we need to have shovel-ready land. But this is back in the beginning of the birth of Go Topeka and the birth of the sales tax. And the genesis of this, originally, I went out and lobbied to get the people to renew the quarter-cent sales tax that we had to, for the law enforcement center. And so as time marched on, the consultant said, hey, you have to have shovel-ready land. You're missing lots of opportunities because you don't have surfaces, utilities, everything to the premises to develop. So in the beginning, the shovel-ready land idea is kind of where I think about it as a real estate developer. The faster I can get somebody into a deal, so I bought into that whole thing. That's the beginning of the resentments. Because I don't think today we're really sticking to where we started. And I think as a community, we really need to take a step back and let's follow the law. Let's look at the interlocal agreement, what we all voted on, and you could say it's about job creation, but the law that we all voted on, it was economic development, infrastructure, and quality of life. So the other day when I was fortunate enough to promote the idea of tearing down the Travelers, I thought that met every one of those. And I was disappointed that we didn't get approval for that. And one of the reasons I'm here is because I want the opportunity to present at JEDO. And not so much at public comment, but I want to bring forward a new idea. And that's very difficult in Topeka, to try to introduce a new idea from an outsider that's a very independent thinker and quite often looked at as totally insane. So the idea is to create a new way of doing economic development as far as engaging more of the people. So I'm a business. Each real estate agent, broker, developer, anybody licensed, we're our own business. And I talked to the Board of Realtors, and there's 650 realtors that are a member of the Topeka Board of Realtors. And so that's 650 businesses. And so if I need something done, you know, I've got to hire somebody for my fancy graphs and documents, and I've actually done that since last time because I wasn't smart enough to think you'd read your emails, but it was said right in the note, bring your presentation in hard copies. And I missed the boat on that, but I'm a young man, and I can, Babe Ruth said half a win and is just showing up. So I'd like to show up again with a presentation of why we engage all the realtors in the community. Because if we can create an even playing field for everybody, So if we're all individual businesses, it's always been not how hard do you work, but how hard does your network work for you? Well, the 650 people, we all live by commission. So we have to work harder. There's 650, they don't eat, they don't make a deal. I told somebody, the next deal, I'll get some trousers. We'll get fully suited. But sometimes you've got to live humbly when you're not making deals. And so the thought of the carryover money from the last meeting, well, if there's $5 million in carryover money, that means we're not making deals. And I do have an axe to grind about the amount of overhead that we spend to create, 1.9 million of the grant. If somebody walked in today and said, well, look, I want a $5 million grant to do something today, they're just new people, and I'm going to tell you 39% of the money is going to go to overhead, you're going to send them packing. So the alternative, and for the first time, a very powerful person, he said, I'm going to talk to Matt about the bloated overhead at Topeka. And I said, thank you. And for the first time, what's your solution? Well, I took a step back, and I laid out my plan. And I want to try to lay out to you. So if we engage 650 new warriors or create a system that 650 businesses, so every deal I've ever done has never gotten any assistance, personally from the economic development money. So if you follow the law, is in the interlocal agreement, does it even say you could really fund a group like your contractor or Topeka? Does it say you're able to do this? I'm telling you, I watched a comment about Davy Crockett the other day, and he's saying, look, we shouldn't do the social program because what if you had to pay for it yourself? Would you do it if you had to reach into your own pocket? So we've got the Greater Topeka Chamber of Commerce that's controlling everything. And so there's an inherent conflict of interest when the people that are doling out the money and own the land to who they're going to help, because they've got to justify their existence. It's just like if you want to get reelected, at some point in time at the ballot box, you guys got to justify why we should reelect you. And so I didn't vote for Topeka. I voted for this idea to create economic development, infrastructure, and quality of life. But it seems like nothing I've done has matched that. So if we change the tune that our money goes in for economic development and or infrastructure, today we're boiling water. We're living in a third world country. We're boiling water, and it's not your fault up here, but or is it? But there's infrastructure that's so far behind in the water department. If we just took all the uncommitted money that doesn't have any strings to it and just gave it to the water department, we might be better off. And as long as we don't operate like New York and California, there's a point in time certain that Topeka, and that's the way we got to look at it. If we just treat ourselves like a tourist town, people are going to want to come here and stay here. But the corporate welfare that we gave Walmart and the Mars family is the last people. So you can say at face value, well, that created jobs. But I was born July 13th, 59, 19,800 people in the city. Today we got 126,000. We did not grow. We didn't do what the sales tax was to do. We didn't grow our population. And so we need to grow our population so you've got more people to appoint to the boards. I mean, a friend of mine was telling me the other day, he goes, man, if you look at there's people on so many boards, we got to introduce some new people. We got to introduce some new ideas. And that's why I think the 650 businesses and all the jobs they're going to create, hire them to list the land that is entitled to go to Topeka. And I don't even think that they should have title to it. Why should a third unrelated party have title to the land? And then if we create a structure that each one of these 650 people could come forward and say, hey, look, I need some infrastructure, put the money in the dirt. Economic development starts in the neighborhoods. So what I want to ask you, Commissioner, because I think you're probably the chair now of JETO, being the chairman of the commission, you'll probably be the chair. So I want the opportunity to bring this idea forward, to engage all the real estate professionals in this community to help with the economic development and basically defund an organization that needs to pivot. Somebody ought to hire the head of that organization, either the city or county, and give them office space because of all the knowledge they've got over time, but also too, the chamber can fund that group if it's such an important thing to have. But the voters and the taxpayers, we didn't elect Go Topeka, we elected you, we come to you right now and say, we got to do things different. And I'll bet you $1 I can get more people on my side on this idea. Everybody's always worried about retribution. I was a treasurer for a guy that ran for public office last election cycle, and there were so many people that didn't want to donate because of the retribution of Topeka. Well, I don't care anymore. I'm already that insane dude that, is out there. And I wonder if I can channel this energy. I've got 44 years in real estate, 40 years in commercial real estate. All my business has been putting people in business, from the mall business. Went to work for the guys that own White Lakes. They became the third largest mall owner in the country. And if we start looking at our community like a mall, and what we had to do, everybody used to pay percentage rent. So let's look at percentage rent like taxes. What is percentage rent? That based on the base sales. So it was our obligation to put in people that did more business. You just didn't want to get base rent, you wanted to get percentage rent. So let's look at percentage rent like sales tax, and we need to grow our tax base through sales tax. What a better way to do it? And we can do the whole thing pay as you go on CIDs. The CID is a beautiful way to develop, and everything then is deal by deal. And then everybody's got an even playing field. So I'm asking, thank you for the time. I've kind of rambled on. Thank you for this was good therapy for me. I appreciate it. So I'm going to ask you guys for the opportunity to come forward at the next JETO meeting. I made some open records requests to the city and the county. I thought they would know that number off the top of my head, or their head. But what is the amount of money that sits in the bank that's not committed to any strings? It's uncommitted, it's just sitting there. We could write a check to somebody. But let's look at it this way. Charity starts at home. Let's look at economic development starting in the neighborhoods. Let's worry about our own infrastructure. Let's make it to where we don't have to boil water. Let's make it where Topeka is just a great place to live. I left for 18 years. I didn't hate it when I left. And my goal is to make Topeka a place that my daughter would like to move back to from Kansas City. I'm getting younger, I'm feeling better, taking care of myself. You guys are gonna have to outlive me, and we'll see about that. I love you guys, thank you for your time, thank you.